bad things have happened in socialist countries, bad things have happened in capitalist countries, but blaming every bad thing in the Soviet Union on socialism. And then whenever it happens in capitalism, saying, oh, but it happened because of there's a bad leader or something like that. Well, no, I just, the way that these things are discussed, I don't know any person who would deny that these bad things have happened. Maybe they would disagree about the details about some of them, but I'm not here to do that. But I don't know anyone who would deny that these things have happened. But the notion that it's always because of socialism, if it happens in a socialist country, and if it happens under capitalism, well, it's because, it's not true capitalism. Or, you've had these arguments, right? Problems in capitalism.
Yeah, but like
the
difference is that like
every death in the Soviet Union from the time of 1917 to 1991 was purely caused by Stalin and communism. That narrative is inconsistent.
the difference is we have to be a little bit more honest when we look at why certain people die or why certain things happen under economic systems. So in the United States, when somebody goes to the hospital and they can't afford to get some test to screen for cancer, and then they later die of it because they didn't catch it early enough, this is a failure of capitalism. We have the resources. They're literally right there and the person can't access it. Okay? That is 100% a failure of capitalism. When you have a people who are told to stop farming and then food isn't rationed to them and all of their crops are requisitioned by the central government as a part of central planning, and then those people starve, 3.5 to 7.5 million of them, that is a failure of central planning, of socialism or communism. Do you agree, or do you think that these two things are fundamentally different?
I would agree. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But I would also agree that when Soviet agriculture was mechanized and got tractors and industrialized, and its successes were also a success of central planning. But yeah, when it failed and when it had problems, that was a failure of central planning. I know many people are critical of the agricultural policies. In the 1920s, during the new economic policy, the Soviet government was pushing peasant enrich yourself and was promoting private farming. Then later, they rapidly collectivized, very, very rapidly, and promoted collective farming. And it was a zigzag that was very dramatic. And I've heard very strong criticisms of that. I'm not an expert. I'm not a Soviet historian.
If you want to take credit for stuff like that, sure. If that's how we're going to play that like the development of that country, like then I'm going to say that all of that agricultural development that took place in the USSR, that was actually a success of capitalism because the tractor was invented in America in the late 1800s. So actually, all the tractors that the USSR.
I read to you earlier about how the Soviet Union was producing more tractors than the United States at that point in their state-run factories. So
sure, but it was off of a U.S. invention. Off of a capitalist country's invention.
Okay. So now, if a system invents something, that's an argument in its favor. Where was the first cell phone invented?
I don't know. Let's check.
1957 in the Soviet Union. Using
like satellite technology and everything that we have today?
No, the first mobile phone ever created was in 1957 by Soviet engineer Leonid Ivanovich Kaprianovich.
So so I could be wrong here, but
who invented the AK-47 rifle, the most efficient weapon, the most efficient gun, I should say, right?
It's efficient, not about killing people. There's a reason why we don't use AK-47s today.
Yeah, because the M16s break, and then we can sell more. It's the military-industrial complex. The AK-47 is a much more efficient weapon.
Well, because the caliber is more lethal as well. 5.56 is superior to the 7.62, the battle rifle rounds or whatever.
They break. They're not durable. You can run over an AK with a tank and it still works. And
I don't think that most rifles need to be field tested to be ran over by tanks.
Let's not get caught up in the gun debate because this can go too many different ways.
Okay.
Yeah, like we could argue like about
like the Soviet Union even had a home computer system in 1985. Now the USA already had a home computer system, but they developed their own without technology, with a treaty, the NATO treaty, barring them from getting any technology from the West. I mean, the notion that central planning economies can't create inventions, can't advance technology is false.
Yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily disagree with that. I think that these types of innovations can come from a lot of different places, sure. It's very strange how we decide like what we take credit for versus what we give, like what we don't take credit for. I don't know. It just feels all over the place to me.
Here.
Okay. I have to get a super chat question in here unless you guys want to keep going back and forth on that. So this is for Destiny.
Also, wait, real quick, just on the
go ahead.
Front of that. Apparently in 1949, AT&T was the first company to commercialize like mobile telephone services. I don't know like where the idea, who in the USSR did they do this earlier or?
I've seen it cited many places that in 1957, the Soviet engineer Leonid Ivanovich Kaprianovich invented the first mobile phone. I've seen that many places. You're disputing that. I mean, I can see it disputed. It's been disputed. I mean, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, but that goes, we're always told that under socialism, no one ever invents anything because the only reason people invent things is because of capitalism and all of that, and I think that spits in the face of that. And there's many Soviet inventions. I believe LED lights were also invented in the Soviet Union.
Okay.
Okay,
Destiny,
let's
anything?
do the super chat question.
Yeah,
we've
yeah,
been
yeah.
going almost 2 hours now, so I think I got to wrap this